Most of you are stuck at an 8-bar loop. You don't know how to arrange, and you don't even know if the track is ready to arrange. So today, I'm going to show you how I'm building a full arrangement from start to finish in one sitting. And this isn't me theorizing, these are the actual techniques that I use to help me finish tracks that get played all around the world and get signed to my goal labels. So let's jump into Ableton and go through the one thing that I noticed that 90% of producers aren't doing. And that is a pre-arrangement test. Most producers build an 8-bar loop and they think they've done. And it may sound something like this. Sound familiar? You've got a vibey loop, you've got the vocal, you've got the bass, you've got the sound effects, but yet you still listen to it and you have no clue what to do next and progress it into a full track. Well, that's where the pre-arrangement test comes into play. So what you actually want to do is spend more time in the loop stage. Now, this can seem a bit counterintuitive, as many other creators will tell you to escape the loop stage and how much of a bad place it is. There's a big difference between being stuck in the loop stage and staying in the loop stage. So let me explain. So being stuck in the loop stage would be creating an 8-bar loop like I just played you and having no idea what to do next. You're physically stuck. You can't really figure out what's next. And then that often leads producers to creating another loop, and then they repeat the cycle and again and again and again, and they're sat there with no finished tracks. So what you want to do is stay in the loop stage and expand that idea out. It isn't arrangement, okay? Let's clarify that. You're still in the loop stage phase, so it can be messy, scruffy. It doesn't have to be polished, and it doesn't have to be polished or perfected. And what this allows you to do is figure out how the track may progress. For example, with this track I've got here, I've stayed in the loop long enough to now make a 16-bar loop, which has more effects, variation, drum fills, which helps tell a better story, which then is going to help me arrange the track at a later date. So let me play a 16-bar loop with me staying in the loop stage. So you can already tell the difference with the new effects and more of a vocal in. It helps you get a picture of how the track is actually going to perform and sound once it's arranged. And my recommendation is to keep on doing this until you get a 32-bar loop full of variation with one key element that noticeably switches up the track. So again, I have an example of this in this loop here. So I'll play it from the beginning and you'll see that the second 16-bar break within this 32-bar loop has a new element, new sound effects as well, and new bits of variation to keep it interesting over 32 bars. And now this is where you can start to see the pre-arrangement test really comes into play. You're not just working with an 8-bar loop that sounds good, but you have no direction or idea how to expand it out. you have a clear vision, path, and structure for how your track is going to form. And you can also take the pre-arrangement test one step further by planning out some form of breakdown before your 16 or 32 bar loop. You can take the exact same philosophies. It can be messy, scrappy, just throwing ideas at the wall, as it's still within the loop stage. You're staying in there. You're not stuck, remember?
Down, I put it up front. Now you're acting like I never made it clear what I want. When you wanna get something to me, fine. When you had it before you had the choice. When you wanna get closer to me now. I don't wanna have you to hold me down. Say I can make you feel good.
And if you want to see the exact workflow of a pre-arrangement test in action, we've got loads of videos inside Serotonin Studio when I do stuff like this. So now let's get into the main part of arrangement, and that's understanding energy. Yes, you may have a continuous loop, but how are you going to progress that in energy or decrease the energy to then make an impactful drop or an important breakdown? It's all just learning about the transfer of energy and the context of a specific style that you are making. So let me show you some examples, because I've worked with hundreds of producers on a one-to-one basis, and a lot of them fail to realize this. And it's all about context with the style you're making. For example, we have two tracks in here. We have a minimal tech track, which sounds a bit like this.
Yeah, I'm a freak.
And we also have a deep house track, which is this one here.
Come on.
Now, although these are both house music, the way they progress and change the energy is completely different. And we can visually see this by just looking at the waveforms. So let's start with the minimal tech one. You can see from the very beginning, there's more stuff going on. It's busier, and it's just generally more full of a waveform. So let's just play this. And you can also see where the bass comes in over here. It's much, much earlier compared to the deep house one all the way over there.
Yeah, I'm a freak.
Whereas our deep house track is a lot slower and more progressive in building up that energy. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that you always need to remember the context of whatever you're making. If we were making a minimal tech track and we were trying to take this style of arrangement where it's very progressive and takes a long time to build up to that drop, it just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't feel right. And it works the opposite way around. If we were making deep house and the bass came in after 16 bars and there was no dramatic build up to that melodic bass line, it wouldn't have the impact or that special moment that many of the deep house tracks have. Well, you may be thinking, well, why is that even important to arrangement? That's not going to help me finish tracks. Well, it is for the next step, which is arrangement mapping. So what we're going to do in this step is we are now going to map out our whole entire arrangement from the very beginning up until the end. So let me run you through exactly how we do this. So first things first, we're going to go and find the obvious elements that are going to play from beginning to end, just so we can get a chunk of a track arranged and forget about it. So elements like this would be the kick, it would be the textures, and maybe some of the sound effects and drum fills. These can just be copied across the entire track up until your desired endpoint. So that's a good chunk of a track already arranged, and we can kind of forget about it. Let's move on to some other obvious elements. So the next one for me would be the bass line. And you may be panicking, thinking, well, how do I know where my bass line needs to come in if I'm not even listening to a track? That's where knowing the context of the style of music you're making and understanding energy really helps. So I know, this being a deep house track, I'm going to want at least 32 bars of that track building up, progressing before the melodic deep house bass comes in. So I'm going to put my bass coming in on 33. Keep it simple. Don't need to overcomplicate it. I'm then going to duplicate this, and I'm going to mirror it on the outro. So by this, I mean, I'm just going to have it coming out of the track at the end, 32 bars before. So with this in mind, I can now start using the locator markers, which is right-clicking above this gray line and then adding locators to input different parts of my track. I know where my intro is going to end, I know where my outro is going to start, I know where my track ends, and I know where my track starts. So let's continue this workflow and mindset. What other easy, obvious elements are there for me to figure out where they're going to go? Well, the vocal, I'm not 100% sure on yet. I know I kind of want this main vocal that I've already arranged here to come in. So let's figure this part out first because it's the obvious element to me. So that's 32 bars. So I know that 32 bars is probably the longest period of time I want something to happen, whether that's for groove playing or a breakdown. So I can take this 32 bars and go, okay, this could be my main break. So that could be 97 to 129, because then that leaves me 32 bars of my track playing. And hopefully now you're starting to understand that once you have context and understand energy, arranging house music is kind of just a numbers game. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move all of this vocal down to 97. And I'm going to map this out as my main break. And then I'm going to put my drop over here. And what I'm going to do is delete the kicks purely for a visual reference of me knowing where the breakdowns are. So now that we've mapped out that main break, we also know that most of these break synths will go in that main break. So I can put them there, which will be brilliant. And we know from the pre-arrangement test that we've got the plucked synth that comes in 16 bars after the drop. So I just move those over to there and that's that solved. So we're definitely getting somewhere now. So all we need to figure out is where we're going to have our first breakdown and how our drums are going to progress and how quickly they're going to come in. I'm going to figure out what's the obvious element to do first. And I'll probably say the breakdown. So we know we've got a 32 bar build of the intro. So now we've got to think, okay, where do we want this drop to come in? Do we want it to drop right on the 32 bars? Do we want it to drop on maybe the 49? Do we want it to build and build and build and then drop on the 65? Who knows? This is where your flexibility and your own creative decisions come into play. For me, I'm going to say the drop is going to be on 49. The vocal flows nicely through that section, the whole vocal itself, which is really good. And then we've got all of this vocal that I can play around with. Now, something like this where I'm not settled on what's going to happen yet, just put it in there. Hope for a happy accident. You never know. We could play out this whole section here and it could sound amazing. Or it sounds terrible, we delete it, and then we just work with the vocal over here. Just experiment and don't be threatened by the arrangement stage. Nothing is definite until the track is finished. And at this stage, the track is definitely not finished. And finally, we're just going to arrange for drums. So I've got a few different clap players in here, but nothing too much is going on. So I'm going to have the claps playing beginning to end, keep it simple. And then the hi-hats, I can definitely evolve over the intro. So we can start them a bit more stripped and then add more in as it builds. And you can already see how the track's progressing in a really natural manner as it is, which is so cool to see. And this is why arrangement mapping has been that technique that transformed my own productions and also transformed all of my clients' productions as well. And just like that, you have an arrangement fully mapped out. We could play this now and listen to the whole thing, and it would sound somewhat like a track. Yeah, it wouldn't be very good because we haven't gone through it yet piece by piece to tidy it up and make sure it has a good flow and improve the transitions and all of that good stuff. But it looks like a finished track. So I'm personally already bought into the track and mentally I'm ready to finish the track, which leads us on to the next part, which is often where a lot of people go wrong, including myself. And that is not being aggressive enough. Now, the reason why I use the word aggression is because most of the time when we get to the arrangement process, especially these finer stages, I notice a lot of producers, including myself, will spend hours on tiny little details. For example, we may be arranging this intro drop here and spend far too long on trying to find the perfect automation curve for the sound effect, which no one ever hears. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm all for paying attention to the detail in the track. But where the problem lies is that you're constantly listening to the track on repeat, and you're not really progressing forward to finishing the track, which then leads to one thing: you getting bored of a track, therefore not finishing it. So if you have a bit more of an aggressive mindset, you will often find yourself getting through the whole track, finishing it within an hour or two, and having that dopamine hit of a finished track. And then you come back to it at a later stage to do the finer detail tweaking. So to show you exactly what I mean, we're going to have a look at a different project where I aggressively arranged the whole thing. And you'll hear that some parts sound a bit rough, like they're just a bit messy and scrappy, but the whole track is playable. And you can see exactly how I made the entire track inside Serotonin Studio, as this was made in our latest Deep House Track from Scratch series.
Oh, if you got a girl, don't mean to disrespect her. I even dream of you, I swear. Visions of you and I. This is more than just a silly crush. Wonder if you even miss me. You gotta feel me. Just wanna be your girl.
So hopefully you could hear from that the vocal went out of time, there was a section missing, and the build section sounds a bit messy. The vocal gets lost, the bass overpowers it. And yes, that is partially mixing, but much of that I could have fixed in the production stage. But I purposely didn't, because I was being aggressive and attacking that arrangement so I have a finished track. Because ultimately, it's much more important to have a fully formed finished track, which is a bit rough, than a perfected 2-minute half a track. And then the final step of the process is get some fresh ears on it. Whether that's you taking some time away from the track, or if that's you getting feedback from other producers or some kind of community aspect like there is inside the Artist Blueprint program. For example, a track I recently finished, I put in the Artist Blueprint community for some feedback, and 2 members gave me 2 really good ideas that I never really thought of, to be honest. And that's the beauty of being part of a community and getting good feedback on your music from like-minded producers. So to summarize the full video to help you finish more tracks. Number 1, do some pre-arrangement testing. Don't just have an 8-bar loop, expand it out so the loop already tells some form of story, which will help you arrange the track. Number 2, always have context and reference for style that you're going for, as this will help you understand the energy of the arrangement that you need to map out in the next step, which of course is the arrangement mapping. Go from beginning to end, mapping out the obvious elements, and just get a good picture of what the track should look like once it's arranged. Then aggressively attack the arrangement, go 8 to 16 bars at a time, and just make sure you get it done and have a playable track as quickly as you can. And then finally, you can refine it with some fresh ears and also get feedback on it from others to help you get that last 10% out of the track. So I hope you enjoyed this video. There's a link down below to a worksheet and resource that you can keep on your computer at all times to remember these key points to helping you finish more music. If you're also interested, you can book in for a free consultation on our Artist Blueprint program, where we can work on a lot of these core production skills to help you finish more music and become the artist you envisioned together. Anyways, I will catch you in another video very soon.